you shouldn't have to go through things. You shouldn't have to face opposition and resistance when it comes to something that already belongs to you. It's like, hey, if I had a car and I was sharing it with somebody, it's like it's both of ours. Just keep it in my house. Cool. But kids should never. It should never be like a Debo and Red situation. Be like, Pop's tripping bad. Want me to ask for my kids back? I wouldn't trip. What kids? The kids I was we went to Magic Mountain 2 weeks ago. The kids I've been asking about. Oh, them kids. I didn't know you wanted them back, homie. It's right over here. I mean, it's like they both of our kids. Just keep them at my house from time to time. Cool. Oh shit! Them my kids, pump. And that's how it be. We're like, why am I fighting for something that's mine? I shouldn't have to fight at all. There should be a smooth transition between getting your kids, seeing your kids, especially when you're paying massive amounts of money. Like it turns into, if you're paying child support, any amount, it really don't matter. I pay about $9, just gonna be honest. And then anytime you try to see your kids or something, there's games being played, and you're like, it turns into, it's not even child support no more. It's more like a ransom situation. I have a very specific set of skills. I will fight you, and I will file paperwork on you. That's bullshit. You gotta file paperwork on your kids. Like, you only do that when you go to the hospital or somewhere. You sign a birth certificate, that should be enough. But if you already got documentation saying, it should just be a natural thing. They didn't do that in the villages. Like, these my kids. Yeah, we can tell they look just like you. But I'm treated like Uncle Daddy. I got visitation for some reason. No, ain't no visitation. It's like, hey, you gonna come with me? And then the other person be like, no, they can't come with you. Be like, why? Because I said so. Well, why? Nothing changed. I've always been there. I've always paid my dues. I've always, made sure they were put first, busting my ass, even when I was homeless. A lot of people don't know about that. Like, I was living with my brother and we both lost. We lost the place that we was living in on some shit that was out of our control, out of our hands. And during that time, we trying to establish fatherhood and shit, and just be there and work. Again, eat good food, take hot showers. And then when you come home from work, you want to sit down and take a nice shit without being affected by threats and shit. You just want to have a good poop in peace. But my situation, man, everything was cool. Like at first, like there was no threats. And I think the threats, whatever they may be from the other party, shouldn't be one. Like when I filed for divorce the first time, the judge, she didn't understand that either. I was like, well, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to pay child support. I know the split is happening. Only thing I'm concerned about is the time I got with my kids. Cool, great. I said, hey, I submitted this schedule to the other party, and it was met with resistance. So the judge was like, why? Why is this? They turned to that person. They was like, why? Why is this being met with this opposition? And the person said, well, he works and his schedule won't allow. So the judge turned to that other person and said, do you work? They said, yeah. I said, can you find babysitters? They said, yeah. And then they also asked, do the kids, and do you feel safe with the kids being over their father's house? And they said, yeah. And then she said, so what's the problem? Why can't he do the same thing? And then boom, it was finalized. Everything was great. Then fast forward, fell in love with somebody else. Ever since then, games have been being played, and a lot of shit has been being said. My son called me one day said about you, this and that and the third, and that ain't even the full story, but I'm just gonna give snippets. Like, it was shit that I wasn't used to, so it kind of threw me off. Like, wait a minute. So I'm like, all right, well, we got to go the legal route. So I went down to Columbus and filed to readjust the custody. I was like, well, you know, there I had this going on and this going on, and then I said, well, I live out of state now, so I'm going to submit that this is my new address. You know, I got a house. I got space for the kids. You know, I got a job. I always keep jobs. Nigga been working since he was 13 years old. Nigga always got a job. But like, that's not even the main part. I have kids, so everything I do that I do for me sets up for progression of the family. That's all. Because I didn't see this shit growing up. No matter what my parents did or what, I didn't care. As long as I got to see both of them, it didn't matter. But for my kids to be robbed of their father on a consistent basis after he just simply made a change, there's a problem there. And the problem needs to be addressed. I got tired of being quiet, so it's like, you got your kids basically being turned against you for no apparent reason. You can't even really get to them. Like, my daughter, my 10-year-old, she was texting me, don't move to Michigan. That girl is bad for you and her daughter is bad for you. First of all, nobody knows anybody, so I didn't know where that was coming from. And then to top it all, I visited Columbus. I pulled up at my kids' school because I got tired of going through the other party to basically get something that was already mine. It was just a sharing thing. Went down to Columbus, pulled up on my daughters at their school, and they were ecstatic. I haven't seen them in a minute because obviously what was going on. My 10-year-old ran to me. She was looking down at the ground walking, and then she looked up and seen that her dad was there. She ran, oh my God, and then jumped into my arms. Oh my God, and started crying. That did something to me because I ain't never seen no shit like that. But right after that, word got back to the other party that the father popped up at their school. Father popped up at their school just to see his kids because he ain't seen him in a minute. And then, you know, my youngest, she just be playing it cool, like, yeah, that's my dad, you know, whatever. She was ecstatic as well. I was ecstatic. But right after that, found out that because of my actions visiting my kids, I was taken off the emergency contact list at the school, and my mother was taken off the emergency contact at the school. Like, why? Like, why? And that's the question I've been asking myself for months. Why? Like, why am I being met with this? Did I miss something? I don't think I missed anything, but that's what's been going on with me. And I'm just gonna put it out there because I really don't care anymore, because it does something to you. It makes you numb to things. Like, well, all you're trying to do is just live, and it's being met with deathly things. Like, there should no father go through that, man. Like, I don't know who gonna hear this, but shit ain't right. It's not. But people want to see you hurt. I'm not gonna hurt because I understand what's going on. I understand what's going on. So all I can do at this point is either go legal again, which it's like, again, like, goddamn, nobody want to deal with all that filing paperwork, going to submit applications for your kids, basically. Hey, I'm a good guy. So when I went down to file for the readjustment of the custody order because I lived a state away, what I was met with was something I really didn't sign up for. This other party came back just from hey, I live here, so I need to readjust the custody order. Nothing affected the kids' lifestyles at all. It was, hey, I want to get them this time. on the holidays, I want them to choose which one they want to, you know, whether it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever. And then through the summer, since they're not in school, you know, I would like them to come, you know, experience where I'm at. So that's all I filed. It was already an open custody order, or not open, it was already closed, it was already settled. And then what came back, this other party got a lawyer and came up with these accusations saying how unsafe I was for the kids because of whatever reason, I don't know. But what was said was some heinous stuff. I'm like, well, I got married in December of 2020. I got a call in April of 2021 from the Columbus Police Department, and they said, "Hey, we have so and so, the name of the mother. So and so said that you allowed your youngest to basically be abused with some person that I was messing with way prior to coming out to Columbus, or not to Columbus, but to Michigan, who's irrelevant right now because it doesn't matter. But hey, your youngest, you know, was involved with another child and blah, 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 and you were over them, you were supervising them, and you allowed it to happen." I was like, well, and then I was like, well, when was this call made? She said, the cop said yesterday, or the detective, whoever she was. So this was April 13th of last year. So I'm like, well, ma'am, when did they say the incident happened? They said, it was around January of 2020. I'm like, well, hold on. I'm like, well, I was in Columbus in January of 2020. And none of this came about. If it was that serious, none of this was said, nobody was called or anything. So I'm trying to figure out what happened. Like, why are these accusations being thrown at me just because I simply tweaked a custody order? And she said, well, what happened with your situation? I was like, ma'am, I got married in December of 2020. She's like, oh, I see what's going on. Okay. All right, sir, you have a good day. Nothing else came of it. So then I'm like, okay, well, I gotta go another route. So somebody told me to try to get a guardian ad litem. So I called, you know, I found they assigned a guardian to the case. Guardian stated that the person said what the cop said, or the detective said about my youngest. And then she said my son, during the relationship I had with their mother, said my son said, yeah, my dad bribed me to cover up him cheating, or who he was messing with. I had to bribe him with money to keep him on the hush. First of all, I was too broke to bribe anybody. Let's just put that out there. I ain't have two nickels to rub together, even pennies at that time. So, but anyway, that's not what I'm fighting here. I shouldn't be fighting for time and all that stuff, and then now I'm fighting for my character and my reputation. It's not right. That wasn't the goal here. It wasn't about me. It was about the kids. So here I stand, months later after that detective was called. I'm like, oh, we gotta do some different stuff. So every text that I got from my kids after that, now mind you, I didn't see this in person. It was all evil. It was all negative. Like my daughter texted me and said something, you know, your ugly wife, this and that. And I'm like, when we visited, when me and my wife came down there was none of that. Everything was cool. Like, you know, for whatever reason, the kids were relinquished, and I was able to spend, you know, a day with them or whatever, and it was cool. You know, I got to see all their personalities. They done grown up and stuff, and you know, we went over to my mom's house, and my youngest, she grabbed my arm when we got out. She was like, I'm gonna hold your hand forever. And then my middle child, the 10-year-old, she's like, she asked for something, but she was just being funny. She was like, Daddy, if you don't give me this, I'm gonna throw a fit. And I thought that was cute. And then my son, you know, he cool. He just wanted his dad. You know, he was cool with just me being there. You know, everything was smooth sailing. And then as soon as I go back up north, here comes the games again. It's like, man, you get tired of that shit. You do. And it's like, what do you do going forward? I'm sure there's people out here that's going through the same thing. This is just my story. This is what I've been experiencing. I don't really care no more. Because out of respect, you try to keep your business, you know, inside your own home. But when your home is being threatened by all this stuff, it's like, all right, enough's enough, because you can't keep coming for my wife, and you can't keep coming for me, and you can't keep disrespecting what I got going on in life, because it was never about anything but progression, healing, growth, getting over yourself, and you falling in love. And they say love conquers all. Yeah, it does. But you shouldn't have to fight for something that's already yours. Like, don't nobody want to fight. Like, for what? And then, you know, if you're a person that does that, you know, they start playing games with kids. Like, you realize that the kids are going to be grown adults one day. So be cautious. It may backfire on you, because then they're going to find out, oh, my dad wasn't what was being said about him. He's always been a gentle person. He's been a good dude. You know, he's just out here, you know, going through what other people go through, and he's trying to do the right thing. But apparently that's not right in other people's eyes, so you have to readjust again. So it's like, what do? Do you continue just being silent? Because somebody got to speak for the kids. If I can't get to them, I don't know how. You miss out on how they really feel about everything. I called my son once during this process and really got to hear some stuff from his mouth. He's like, this is being said about you, that's being said about you, you're this, you're that. I'm like, I said, well, is that how you feel? He's like, no, obviously you wouldn't be talking to me. But I don't like lies, like people making up stuff for their own personal gain or whatever. It's really a personal loss, because you got a father that's active and he's trying to do, you know, the right thing for his kids, and then you got the other party talking about, I do this all by myself, blah, blah. Yeah, but if you have help, and then when the help comes, you're like, no, you can't have them. It's like, well, wait a minute. Like, what's really going on? Is it that you don't have help, or are you being whatever? Are you being bitter? I don't know. Like, this is something I didn't go through as a kid. So I really don't know. Like, you get confused. And it's like, do you really want to take the time to go legal with it again? Because what you're being met with is like, this is going to take forever. But at the same time, it's like, I can't walk around and say I didn't try something. You know, saying I'm there for my kids. I have to go around, because there's no communication between the adults here. And it's funny how the kids will act more cordial and be more loving and respectful than the adults in the situation. Like, they shouldn't have to go through that. That's toxic. That's negative. But really don't know. Like, it is hurtful, but at the same time, I'm not gonna keep crying about it, because there was a lot of tears and stuff. You don't know that, but yeah, it was a lot of crying. I'm like, man, I don't understand what's going on. But yeah, you just, like today, I'm just out, you know, off work, you know, about to cook some good breakfast and stuff, and then got your kids hitting you up with all this negative stuff, and you be like, man, is this really them? You know, I don't get it, because it doesn't feel like my kids when they text me, because I know my kids. I know them. Been there since day one. Yeah, I had a few changes. I was homeless and I had to relinquish my duties during that time, but my fight was always to get back on my feet so they could be stable and they could have a loving home to go to and stuff like that. But Like, I done tried everything, but what I'm gonna try is care no more. Like, not like that. I care about my kids, but I don't really care about anybody's opinions on this, because they're mine. This is my life. I gotta live for me, and I gotta die for me. In between that, if somebody hates me or whatever, then hey, you're gonna have to kill me to really show me that you hate me. Because if you don't, then obviously there's something there. So I don't get that. But you know, they say time heals everything. It does, but I don't want to waste it anymore. I've done that, trying to do the right thing, trying to be a good person in the eyes of people. That's what it was. You know, you think you're doing this, it's not really for you, but it's for other people. But no, this was for me. This was for me and my family and what I think is right. I would never, and out of respect, I would never shit on or talk bad publicly about, you know, the other party. But if it's truth, then it's truth. Like, I don't know what to do at this point, because I'm met with resistance every time I try something. Like, every time, like, well, what the hell is going on? Like, what was done? What was there? There's nothing there that says that this stuff is true. So going forward, the only thing you can't do is live your life. Like, you ain't got time to be pulled down and, you know, weighed down by other people's burdens and stuff. It's like, you done did everything in the book, kind of to, you know, make sure that other people are set. Like, shit, when I left that situation, you know, I made sure, I was like, I'm gonna get this place. And my kids, they came with me to my first apartment. They was like, oh, cool, this is cool with that. All I had was a bed and a couch. Kids came over, they didn't care about all that. We all rocked it out late. We slept on the couch, all just laid out. My youngest, she peed on it, but I had to get rid of it. But still, they was cool. They had their dad. I had my kids. They didn't care if we was eating Little Caesars or a lobster tail. Like, they don't care about none of that stuff. All they care about is being with their parent, feeling safe, and feeling like they have an identity when it comes to both of their parents. Like, that shouldn't be stripped at all. But that's just what I've been going through. You know, been trying to live a peaceful life. You know, that's what it's all about, especially getting older. Like, all I care about is peace, tranquility, and progression. And when that's being met with opposition, resistance, and bullshit, be like, hey, whatever I'm being met with was old. It's old, and it gets tiring. You know, that's old stuff that don't even matter, because obviously when the cops were called, they understood what was going on. They ain't even do nothing. So now you got that going on. Then you got the games being played afterwards. You get tired. People poking the bear and stuff. It's almost like you're being bullied with the fact that your fatherhood is being slowly stripped away, not by your own doing, though. But this shit gotta stop. It's trash. But about to go in here, get some breakfast, cook real good, eat good, and chill before I go to work and stuff. And that's it. I paid my dues. I did all I could up to this point, and this is how I'm feeling. So take it or leave it. I really don't. Like, mom hit me up the other night, emotional about the kids, because she too she got blocked after, you know, I told her what was going on, and then it got out, and then now she's being affected. Like, come on now, you taking the kids, grandma away now. That's all they had. Like, everybody was getting to see the kids but me. I was like, what the fuck? But sit back, I'm gonna listen to my music. I'm gonna be married, love my wife, love my other child, and continue my journey, because there's only so much you can take and do. Like, puts you in a position where you can become bitter, and I'm not trying to do that. Like, I'm not gonna have my energy being lowered or being on the negative tip because somebody else. Like, I never do that. Like I said, you trying to you basically trying to kill me. But you're not really even affecting the adults because they can move on easily. I can make another kid if that's the case, but that's not the thing. You're actually hurting the kids. Like, the father and the mother doesn't belong to each other. The kids, they have a mother that belongs to them, and they have a father that belongs to them. That's theirs. Nobody should get in the way of in taking that away, but the adults, if they decide, hey, I ain't fucking with you no more, and this is how I want it. Like, this ain't no, like, but yeah, it feels good to actually speak about it because I'm the only voice I got in this matter because I am the father.